We definitely 100% have to talk about these riots. And I'm going to tell you pretty much right now that I am 100% pro protesting. I think that, you know, no good really ever comes out of protesting, that's for sure. But you're trying to get your point across. But once you start smashing windows and setting Waymos on fire, you've become a rioter. And once you kick that Apple Store door down, you've become a looter. Now, I need you guys to know this is not going to be a political video of any kind whatsoever. This is going to be a preparedness guide on what to do if you're stuck in one of these so-called peaceful protests. I'm going to cover what to do to stay safe if you're caught in the middle of a riot. We're going to touch on what to do if you're in your vehicle and you get surrounded by these hordes of people trying to smash your windows out. If you live in an urban environment, we're going to talk about how to secure your home against these rioters or looters, or I've noticed lately on prepper channels, they're called marauders. That's a stupid term. They're criminals. And then, of course, you know me, we're going to be talking about some of the tools that you can use to defend yourself against these roving cretins of the scummy underworld. And as always, before we get into the video, I need to thank all of our new members over on Patreon. Thank you so much. I want to thank all the new subscribers here on YouTube. Hot damn, we are pumping out the subscribers and the views. Thank you guys so much for watching my videos. June's giveaway on Patreon is going to be a Ready Radio Bofang UV21R, and that radio is going to come to you programmed with all the frequencies you could ever want for your local area, as well as my personal frequencies. So if you happen to be driving through where I live, you can key up that mic and we can have a chat. One of the core principles about how to deal with looting and rioting, in these major cities is avoidance. Your best defense against being stuck in a riot is to not be there in the first place. Now, I've come to notice on this channel, and this is not disrespecting anybody in any way, shape, or form, but I have noticed that on my channel, as well as other prepper channels, the prepping community does not seem to care or doesn't like to watch videos that are about situational awareness, firearms, self-defense, things like that. But if you find yourself stuck in one of these riots, or a riot is about to pop off and you have poor situational awareness, ladies and gentlemen, you're gonna get stuck in the friggin' riot and something terrible is going to happen to you. You have to work on your situational awareness, whether you like it or not. You have to avoid these areas. I mean, my advice to everybody is to move out of these major cities, but don't come to my area, go to somebody else's area. All of this stuff happens quite a bit in these major cities. You're gonna have these rioty things, and they're all politically based. Again, we're not talking about the politics here, but you have to be so aware of all of your surroundings. Here's another thing. Don't get curious about what's happening. We all see it every single day, especially if you're part of one of those Facebook community pages. Those are the worst. I mean, I love my community, but people are posting on there, hey, did anybody hear that weird bird fart? What was that? It's insanity. Everybody's so curious about everything else. And I'm sure most of you people, tell me if I'm wrong, but you've been driving down a highway, going to do something with your family, and there's an accident and traffic slows down because everybody's driving, looking out their window to see what the hell happened. Don't get curious. If you have good situational awareness and you are prepared, you're going to sense these events happening. So get the hell out of there. Just go. But let's say you can't. Let's say you're stuck there. So let's talk about what to do if you happen to be stuck in a riot, or a riot pops off while maybe you're with your family, maybe you're just out going to get coffee. All right, so we're on foot. We're out, we're walking around, we're having a good day, and a riot pops off. It's literally when that first brick is thrown is when things are going to go bad. So your goal is to get out of there as fast as you humanly can. Even if you have to run, get as far away from there as possible. Those bad actors, well, let's just say what they are, those friggin' scumbags that do all this looting and rioting, they're already there, and there's already a mass of them. You have to get out. Even if you're in a freer state or whatever, and you have things like pepper spray, or you happen to be carrying a firearm, let me tell you something right now. You are horribly, horribly outnumbered. We have examples of this. We can look at what happened with the George Floyd riots and Kyle Rittenhouse. I mean, that young man was attacked violently because he had a rifle. Yes, Kyle Rittenhouse should not have been out there with a rifle. He should not have been at these protests. He was doing what he thought he was right by protecting his community, even though he was far away from his community. But look at that situation that he got in. Somebody attacked him, he shot that person. Then they swarmed him. He was running and dashing and darting and shooting, and he ended up shooting somebody else. You do not want to put yourself in any situation whatsoever for these rioters, these scumbags, where you're going to be put on trial for murder or manslaughter or aggravated assault. You want nothing to do with that, so you want to get the hell out of there as fast as you can. If you do get caught up in it, you have to remember to remain calm. Trust me, you're smarter than these POSs, doing all the looting and the rioting. And their goal is to confront police and, break into the Apple store to steal all the friggin' iPads or whatever the hell else they're stealing. Which, by the way, just infuriates me to no end that these people go out and do this shit. God, do I hate those people. If there are police around, hands, kind of sort of up, but you got to remember that they're also doing that. They also have their hands up. They're also screaming, don't shoot, just so that they can get closer to the police officers to try and injure them. The mentality of these people. Get yourself to the edge of that crowd. If they're moving this way, you go that way. I'm going to propose a question to everybody watching this video. What do you do? What do you wear? Do you agree with me on the avoidance technique? Don't be there, you'll be safe. Are you one of those people who thinks that you should just run through these people, pick up a bat, start cracking skulls? That's something that you guys think that you should do? Don't do it. But is that something that you think you should do? And just one more quick thing, and it's kind of like minutia. We're kind of re-talking over things here. But again, just make sure that law enforcement knows that you're not part of this moronic crowd, and that will definitely save you from getting a 40 Mike rubber bullet into your chest or a pepper ball in the throat. Okay, vehicles. Now, this is something we see on the news all the time. It's not just the looters and the rioter scumbags. It's the environmentalists and pretty much anybody who's having a bad day, doesn't have a job, needs to go out and do something. Yeah, they're going to be blocking traffic in front of you. So how do we deal with that? Well, this is where it becomes very tricky, because this thing right here, this vehicle, is always pretty much considered a lethal weapon, because if you run somebody over, you're going to kill them. Now, I just saw a news interview with Ron DeSantis down in Florida, my Florida peeps. What's up? And he just issued a statement saying that if somebody blocks your vehicle and they're trying to smash your windows, drive through them. It's pretty much what he said. Where I live, Massachusetts, if you do that, you're going to prison for a very long time. Same thing with California. Our vehicles are very identifiable, especially when everybody out there has a cell phone. They can give the license plate to police officers, so you can't just drive through the crowd. So let's take a look at some of the things that you can do, but probably shouldn't do. All right, so here I am. I'm in my vehicle, and, we're going along. And we get to that spot where, there's a bunch of people blocking the road. Let's say it's an environmental protest. The best thing we can do is just turn around and go the opposite direction and find another way around. They're not going to block every single road. You'll be able to get around. If we see a big crowd, we're stuck and this huge crowd starts coming around us. They're looking in. I mean, my vehicle, I've got a light bar up here. This definitely looks like a police vehicle. So the first thing I do is I roll up my windows. Once I have these windows rolled up, I have a little bit more protecting me. I'm a little safer inside. So we're in the vehicle, and one of the things that I always have in my vehicle constantly, my wife has it too, is a little bit of Saber Red pepper spray. This stuff is like 90% capsaicin. It's insanely effective. But here's the thing. You're inside of a vehicle, right? And if they break your window out and you try and spray them from here, the problem that you're going to have is you're going to get pepper spray all inside your vehicle, and that's going to blind you. It's going to affect your senses. Maybe they came from this way and you go to spray them like this and it bounces off of their face mask or their goggles, comes back in your eyes. Now you're blind and they're gonna take your vehicle. They're gonna rip you out, beat the shit out of you, whatever. So yeah, just always make sure you're very careful with the pepper. Just kidding, everybody. This is a law enforcement training unit. Haha, gotcha. All right, but let's say we don't have pepper spray. Well, obviously we have one option, and this is the very last option, is one of these handguns right here. Highly effective tool, but again, once you pull the trigger on this gun into another human being, you are going to face some pretty serious legal consequences. So a few other devices you could have in your vehicle would be striking devices, like this guy right here. Asp baton is the popular one. I believe this is by a company called Auto Lock. It's police issue, and I'm telling you right now, you should have this ready to go underneath your leg. If you get dragged out of this vehicle, boom, you can pop that out, you can deploy this, and I'm telling you right now, you're gonna do some damage to people if you're hitting them with this device. Another striking implement is a simple flashlight. This is a Barska flashlight. Actually, one of the first videos we ever did on this channel was a review of the Barska flashlight. That's a small handheld weapon. You can really deliver some force to get these people off of you. Once you find yourself being surrounded and, you know, things going really, really bad, really fast, the absolute first thing you should do is pull out your cell phone and call 911. Put them on speakerphone and leave it in your car. All 911 systems across this country are recorded. You're gonna want everything that transpires inside your vehicle to be recorded. If you're letting the dispatcher know what's happening, they know how to guide you through it. They're gonna say things to you like, can you get out of there? Can you escape? When they hear that window break and you're screaming for your life, at least you have a recorded piece of evidence that can be transcribed and shown in court in case you have to shoot one of these people who's trying to rip you out of your vehicle. That same advice that I just gave you is the same thing for any type of a home invasion. Call 911, get on that recorded line, and stay on the line till either you're dead or you've been rescued. What if we live in a city that's prone to riots or peaceful protests? What can we do to defend our homes? So ask yourself this, well, where do you live? Do you live in a house? Do you live in an apartment? I mean, if you're living in downtown LA, it's pretty much a guarantee that you're living in an apartment. So what can you do there? Well, if your apartment complex will let you upgrade the door locks, at least put some type of one of those bars that goes back against the door to protect it from being kicked in. On your windows, it's a really good idea to put some type of a security film on there, you know, in case somebody hucks a brick through your window or a Molotov cocktail, it's gonna have a harder time penetrating through that glass. Here's the thing about where you live, and what I've noticed with all of these riots, or whatever the hell you want to call them, is that the majority of them really pop off once the sun goes down. Once that sun comes down the horizon, we have far more riots, far more looting. So if you live in one of these big cities, I hate to say it, you want to be in by 6, 7 o'clock at night in the summertime. For some reason, and I have no idea why, but there's not a lot of rioting in the wintertime. It always seems to be during the summer. Why? Because these moron, pathetic losers, they don't like the cold. They're not tough enough to handle extreme weather environments. They don't even go out when it's raining. You want to make sure that if you have shades, draw your shades. I'm not one of these like shut your lights off kind of thing. Lights on, I think, is better simply because if the lights are off, they might go, hey, nobody's home up in that apartment, let's go kick their door in. If you notice that in your area or in your complex or whatever that people are starting to come in, you want to go ahead and do some pretty quick barricading of your door. Heavy objects, dressers, pianos if you have one. Hell, unhook the fridge and roll it in front of your door. Anything that you can do to slow them down from coming in or deter them and kind of have them say, this isn't worth my time to come in. Escape routes are really hard in an urban environment, especially if you live on the 2nd, 3rd, or 20th floor. There's really no way to get from that window egress down to street level. I don't have a lot of experience living in big cities like New York where they have fire escapes and things like that, so I can't talk to that. So maybe some of my big city dwellers out there could hop in the comments and let the rest of us know how you egress out of your apartment should you have to. If you guys watching this are part of these riots out there in LA or whatever, you live in that city, could you please, down in the comments, let us know how you're handling all of the chaos that's going on outside? So we covered some self-defense tools. We covered the asp baton, obviously a handgun, pepper spray. They also make pepper gel, the big bottles of bear spray that have like the paint handle on them. Those are fantastic as well. They put out a lot of spray. One other thing is the Burna or Byrna. It's a pepper ball gun. Link below if you guys are interested in it, and we're showing a picture right here of what it looks like. This is a pepper ball gun that is illegal in all 50 states. You can legally own this, I believe, even if you're a prohibited person from owning a firearm. Double check that, but I'm pretty sure. One other thing that you could do, I don't own one, so I don't have that to show you either, is a paintball gun. You can load up a paintball gun with like 10,000 rounds of pepper balls. I'm assuming you'd have to buy those Byrna ones. I don't know if you can legally buy, you know, bags of pepper balls from the internet without being law enforcement. But here's the thing, paintballs are just as effective. Have you ever been shot with a paintball? Those things hurt like a son of a bitch. So even if you have just a paintball gun, make sure it looks like a paintball gun. I'm not talking about one of those AR looking paintball guns because you might get shot by police. But if you have one of those in your vehicle, you're in a riot-prone area, you can just simply pop that out the window, pop, 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 start schwacking people all day long. If you're using a paintball gun, you really need to practice with that just like you would have to practice with a firearm. A lot of these people, like I said before, are wearing these, you know, Amazon plate carriers, and they've got big goggles on and stuff like that. So you really want to go for sensitive areas, you know, the neck, the arms, the groin. You light a dude up with like 75 paintballs in his beanbag, whoo, it's a bad day for him. What kind of self-defense tools do you guys out there recommend that maybe I didn't talk about in this video? So just to kind of recap really quickly here, I know you guys don't want to do it. I sense it, I feel it, but you have to up your defensive skills. You have to train your situational awareness. I'm not messing around with you guys. You have to do this stuff if you have any hope of surviving any shit hitting the fan event at all, whether it's a riot or some type of apocalypse. You have to up your skills, and this channel is going to help you do that. Preparedness is a responsibility that we have to not only ourselves, but to our friends, our family, our loved ones, and to humanity. I hope this video got you thinking, and I really hope that you're starting to look at the facts that these riots and all this looting and all this other stuff is really starting to happen more and more throughout the country. And I really want everybody out there to be safe. I want you all to be able to protect yourselves and be really the best prepared citizen you could possibly be. So with that being said, ladies and gentlemen, I say it every video, the best time to prepare was yesterday. The second best time is now. And that's all I got for you.